worked both as a playwright, you've also know a lot about film and TV, and you work in computer games.
Yeah, for almost 20 years.
And all of these forms obviously have a huge market with children. Could you say something about the difference in working as a playwright and working in, creating stories for computer games?
I think there's a big misconception here, and that is that computer games is for children. The average age of a European computer gamer is 33. So I would say that's a misunderstanding there. And I think writing for children is, there's no difference really on a children's play and an adult play for adults, except for the themes and the language, the intensity of things. I think there's a huge difference writing a play for 3 to 4 year olds, writing for tweens, writing for teenagers. But I think one of the things that is equal to everything is that you have to be honest, extremely honest. And I think they are such avid culture users, the children I met in Denmark and in Germany where we've been played as well. And I think what they saw in The Secret was an honesty about, one of the biggest fears anyone have, losing your parent. And I think that honesty, the play was sort of, I took a lot of, I don't really have a plan when I write, but I test out things like I'm improvising text, and then I go back and say what is resonating with myself. And I go for kind of honesty, that I prefer people talking honesty to me, and I think that's what they sense, that the play is rough. It's hard in certain places, and it doesn't, take the difficult things and, hiding it away and suffering it up. No, she wasn't dead. The story is the mother is dead, and the children find her and makes a decision to keep it a secret. And I think, and there's various reasons for that. But I think in the end, the play deals with the grief, with the love, and with the fighting that goes on among siblings. And they have to find a way and a love towards each other. And it doesn't shy away from touching these difficult things. So that I think in a sense that art that is honest will always find an audience somewhere.
You're not afraid that this era of computer games, virtual realities, and so on will kill the theatre?
No, absolutely not. It's a completely different. I think when we go and consume arts and music, and you go for certain things when you listen to Mozart, and you get something different if you go and listen to Slayer, or if you go and listen to Muse. That's different experiences. And I think we are DJing our own experiences. A modern human being has access to any kind of information in the whole world. They're connected 24/7. And they know exactly what I'm going to clean now. I need some upbeat thing, so I go for some African rock and roll. And now I need to get relaxed. I have a quiet moment with my wife. I'm putting on Kind of Blue with Miles Davis. And I think that DJing the thing that fits me personally, that's what we're seeing more and more. And I think therefore, theatre is when we want a social experience, sitting together in an auditorium and experiencing something that happens right now. I think that pleasure and that experience is completely different from sitting and playing some kind of computer game. And computer games again is a vast field of different kind of experiences. So I'm sorry there's no easy answers.
In terms of complexity, I think traditionally children's theatre has a bad reputation for being banal. And I think a budding or emerging writer who's kind of wondering, should I write for young audiences or not, might have the fear that they have to dumb things down. What are your thoughts on that?
I think my thoughts on this, and I don't say this is the truth, because I think any writer has to find their own truth. But I don't dumb things down, because I would hate it myself. I don't like chewed food. I like raw food. I like to digest it myself. I like to work with my teeth. I like to work with my brain. And I think the audience we're playing for, and we did other plays as well, more humoristic, more musical-like, but still we always have an edge to it. And I think people appreciate that. our jokes is a little bit daring, the themes are daring, and we don't polish and coat things in, sugar coating. And I mean, I think, McDonald's food is great for quick, but how many times can you go back and eat the same stuff? So I think, to be honest, in my artistic work, I go for what I feel is right, what I feel is true, and I don't claim it is, but that's what it was for me when I did it. But the funny thing is, going back to The Secret, which is my text that's been presented here today, I honestly feel, it's 8 years ago I wrote it, and I feel there's so much I would like to rewrite or change or, enhance a bit. So I guess it's a never-ending battle.
I think you've touched on a very interesting subject, which is how does a writer know that whether what you've written is good or not? How do you assess your own work?
What I do, and what I work at the Danish National Film School, and I'm teaching classics to the manuscript students, and on the other hand, I'm doing computer game thingy, for the computer game students. So I have quite a range of covering. But I think what I'm always saying is, you're not your own audience. So my first audience is my wife. And when she sort of killed it and told me how bad it is, because every time I write it, it's like, oh, this time she will see how great a writer I am. I go down and say, ha, I've written it. And she goes and says, well, and there we are again, back to rewriting. And I guess my recommendation is get your worst critic to read it. Ask some of your actor friends over for dinner, give them some wine, ask them to read it aloud for you, because there you hear it. You have to see it on the floor, you have to hear it in the space, and it's so important. I'm writing a film right now, and the same thing we're doing there. We're having all our friends brought around a table, read it, listening to it. At the same time, we're working with the Film Institute that's giving us money, sort of like curating quality. But, I think you have to go broader than that. Basically, test your own thing. Test it.
How do you take the feedback then if you really don't agree with it? How does that collaboration work?
I learned one very good advice. You shut up when you get feedback. Because if you begin to explain what you did, you don't listen. So what I do is that I write down everything I hear, and when I'm sort of relaxed and got over the shock, I go back and read it because I get so upset. But I think I'm 54 now. I've written quite a lot, and I'm getting more and more relaxed. And coming from theater, I know that the text is not the goal. The text is the starting point for a lot of people's work, and you have to be generous as a writer. You have to be generous and allow people to get in and get excited and change it and try things, because you cannot know. You are not the ultimate definition. Read Hamlet. That's the quarto from, sometimes 1590s, and it's a complete different place. But then you can see he sort of worked it out over the years in the folio text. It's a compilation of all the experiences going in and presenting the text to the audience, getting different actors in on the different parts, and developing in that way. And I think text is that. It's a good text is vivid. It's alive, and you as a writer have to allow other people to get in and get their hands into it and their teeth into it. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.